Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to watch today's show. But coming up on today's show, our good old friend, diehard Vikings fan, Mike Florio, put out an interesting article saying that there is some chatter that the Vikings will be interested in Mac Jones this offseason. So we'll talk about that on the front half of today's show. Then on the second half of today's show, Justin Jefferson, he was talking about J.J. McCarthy, was shared with one quote he had from training camp, then also a quote he had this week. So pretty interesting stuff coming in there from number 18. Let's start off with what Florio had to say on Mac Jones potentially being a Viking next season. As he said, there's already chatter in some circles that in the 2026 offseason, the Vikings will explore trading for 49ers quarterback Mac Jones. This is classic Florio. You guys get on me for having some clickbaity headlines and doing stuff for clicks and for right reasons sometime. But I think this was classic. I'm going to go out there and try to get clicks from Mike Florio because obviously he understands. He put this article out there. It's one, the Vikings trying to trade for a quarterback, and also two, kind of has an underlining message that they are willing to move off from J.J. McCarthy and already kick the tires on that area. So I just thought this was classic Mike Florio. Kind of, being a jackass and putting some ludicrous article out there that kind of spite Vikings fans a little bit, even though he is a Minnesota Vikings fan. But I will say, in terms of trading for Mac Jones, this may sound crazy to you guys, but it would probably demand a second-round pick for Mac Jones. And this is for two reasons. One, the San Francisco 49ers, they value Mac Jones way higher than I think other NFL teams would value Mac Jones because they have a quarterback in Brock Purdy who they just gave a massive contract to. They want to have a high-end backup quarterback. Kyle Shanahan is absolutely obsessed with this guy. They originally wanted to take him with pick number 3 in that draft, but he got convinced to take Trey Lance, and now he's finally with Mac Jones. So I don't think Kyle Shanahan would want to move off him whatsoever. And plus, second fold here, they got Mac Jones on a crazy good deal. A 2-year, $8.41 million deal is probably one of the best contracts in the NFL. I mean, Mac Jones is 5-3 right now as the 49ers starter this season. So obviously, they value him immensely. And kind of my thought when I saw this Florio article, I was kind of getting mad at Kwesi a little bit because you should have signed him this offseason. Like the fact that he signed a 2-year, $8 million deal, and I would already kind of consider Mac Jones a veteran in the National Football League. He's been through the ringer. He's played in a playoff game. And the fact that he was out there for $4 million per season and the Vikings didn't sniff at that, I would have gave him $7 million per year just so you have a high-end backup quarterback behind a 22-year-old in J.J. McCarthy, who's coming off a torn meniscus. I promise you, if we would have signed Mac Jones and not have signed Carson Wentz 2 weeks before the season started, our record maybe wouldn't be, up 2-3 games above 500, but we would have been for sure at least 5-5, if not 6-4, because Mac Jones, he's been balling this season. He's been incredibly accurate throwing the football. Obviously, that's his calling card. Now, I will say over the past couple of weeks, he hasn't been, playing as well as he did when he started. Obviously, Brock Purdy came back this previous week. But he's had a 5-3 record, a passer rating of 97.4, over 2,100 yards, 13 tuds, 6 interceptions. So he's been playing some good football. And, even the advanced stats, they don't blow you away, but this right here does. Adjusted completion percentage sitting at 80.1%. Even has a solid pressure to sack ratio for a not so mobile quarterback in Mac Jones. But I will say he is a product of the Kyle Shanahan system. That's why you see the big time throws, only 8 on the season, 2.7% of throws. But he still has kind of that Sam Darnold-ish tendency where he'll just have these what the hell are you doing turnovers. That's why his turnover-worthy plays are at 3.0% of his plays this season. And, the only way you consider bringing in Mac Jones, and this won't be the case, but it's if you fully believe J.J. McCarthy will not work out. And I am talking, you got to be so convicted in this take where this coaching staff, this front office, this regime, like they are certain that J.J. McCarthy is not the guy in a very limited sample size because still, at the end of this season, he still wouldn't be up to a full 17-game sample size, not even a full season. So if they would even sniff this consideration in terms of trading for Mac Jones, Kwesi, Kevin O'Connell, you better be dead set certain that J.J. McCarthy is not the guy. But I will say, Mac Jones, fantastic stopgap quarterback option if the Vikings do decide to go that direction. So I'll ask you guys this. Would you trade for Mac Jones? Give me a T for trade. Give me a P for pass. You guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. I would consider it only if J.J. McCarthy is officially a bust. But you guys let me know your thoughts down below. Now, we'll say in terms of Vikings offseason, it has a chance to get very wild. And I think a lot of it rides on J.J. McCarthy. Now, I also do believe if J.J. McCarthy, if he ends up being the guy and we got enough to kind of go off of from this very limited sample size that he is the guy next season, then it maybe won't get as wild. But if there's a huge question mark around that quarterback position, who the hell knows who's going to be QB1 for Minnesota next season? Now, I do want to share with you guys some just classic Vikings drama here. Greg Holcomb, J.J. McCarthy's quarterback coach. So if you guys didn't see, and this is, I can't believe I'm talking about this again. Emmanuel Acho, he posted on Twitter, J.J. McCarthy's clutch. Chris Carter quote tweeted it, saying, "Did you watch the first 59 minutes?" Greg Holcomb tweeted out at Chris Carter, saying, "You're an effing clown." And then Greg Holcomb, earlier on today, delivered a statement apologizing for saying that. But then he tweeted this out less than 2 hours later, saying, "I was asked to remove the letter from social media, but that does not diminish from my apology to Chris Carter and the Vikings fan base." Guys, this Vikings team, they're one of one. We are having a special, special season, and not in the right way. I mean, the fact that if you would have told me that the Vikings quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, that his quarterback coach would be calling out Chris Carter before the season and then delivering a formal apology and then being asked to remove that formal apology off social media, I would have said, what the hell happened this season? So this is just a truly special season for the Minnesota Vikings, not necessarily in a good way. But some positive news here. We'll do a full video on this tomorrow. But Ryan Kelly will be a full participant today and presumably throughout the week of practice. He suffered 2 concussions early on this season, but is itching to get back out there per Kevin O'Connell. Possible that could happen Sunday in Green Bay. So if we could get Ryan Kelly out there, finally we'll have that full 5-man offensive line for the first time this season, which would be so fantastic. So we'll talk about what Jefferson had to say here on J.J. McCarthy in a second, but I got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor. That's Factor Meals. And if you guys want to eat smart, head on over to factormeals.com/VikingSchat50off and plug in promo code VikingSchat50off to get 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Now, the fall season always feels like a reset. Between back to school, busy routines, and shorter days, finding time to cook can be tough. That's why I love Factor. Their chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious, no matter how hectic the season gets. Here covering the Minnesota Vikings at Chat Sports. Sometimes when I get off work, don't always feel like making a home-cooked meal. That's where Factors came in and has completely changed my life. And they got more variety, more meals. You guys can choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp, at no extra cost. So eat smart at factormeals.com/VikingChat50off. Plug in promo code VikingChat50off to get 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code VikingChat50off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. This offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. All right, number 18 was talking about number 9. He had a couple of interesting quotes. Just felt like I had the need to share them with you guys because obviously Vikings fans are freaking the hell out on their young potential star quarterback here in J.J. McCarthy. But this is what J.J. had to say on J.J. during training camp. He said, "You definitely have to have patience. He's pretty much a rookie." And Vikings fans are forgetting that. Like, this is his fifth, or he just made his 5th career start. I mean, it is just incredible how already people have declarations if he's a bust, if he's not. Now, listen, even if J.J. McCarthy was going out there balling out and the Vikings are 5-0 in his starts, he looked like one of the top quarterbacks in the league. I don't even know if you can necessarily say he is a surefire thing because we have seen guys like C.J. Stroud, even Jaden Daniels this year, where they have a great rookie year, but then teams get tape on you, teams start figuring out your tendencies, and then you can come back to reality. So it's also on the opposite end of the spectrum where J.J. looks awful. I'm not willing to just rule him out as a complete bust. I think it's ludicrous. Vikings fans, be patient. But Jefferson also had this to say after the game, saying that everybody feels like it's difficult. It's not something that we're keeping under the rug or anything. Yes, it's difficult. And obviously, this offense is struggling. Jefferson's struggling. The quarterback's struggling. It is truly a disaster right now on the offensive side of the football. But again, they know it. Like, I know I've been complaining about it. Like, it is truly frustrating watching this football team sometimes. You just got to be patient. And KOC, he kind of showed Jefferson some love on his weekly podcast with Paul Allen, saying when the quarterback is struggling, regardless of what they say in the press conference regardless, Justin is going to take the high road because he's the leader of that team, and he's not going to show any negativity to the quarterback because he's committed himself to take care of the kid and help the kid in his journey. I love how they refer to JJ McCarthy as a kid. But he says, but when you can't do your job, it creates frustration. And, even though Jefferson has, ticked me off just a little bit, especially in that Ravens game, showing his emotions a little too much, I still think with the whole picture here, he has handled this very well because this is a guy who is averaging 97 yards per game in his NFL career. That was 8 yards higher than who is in second all-time, Julio Jones. So he was historically great to start his NFL career. And then this year with McCarthy, it has been almost cut in half. Like only averaging 54 yards per game. I'm sure Jefferson's pissed because he wants to get his. That's just the natural DNA of these wide receivers. He's also catching half of the targets thrown his way. That's probably driving him up a wall. So he has every right to be pissed. He has every right to be frustrated, to get upset with J.J. McCarthy. But how he's handled it, again, we take him for granted. Like, for people saying, oh, maybe the Vikes should trade Justin Jefferson. Maybe we could get a first-round pick and a couple players for him. You're out of your damn mind. He's one of the best football players in the league. We're keeping 18. He is the franchise. He's the face of the franchise, and he will continue to be just that over the Kevin O'Connell era here in Minnesota. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Hit me with those skulls down below in the comment section, and hit that subscribe button on your way out. See y'all next time. Skol Vikes.